Welcome back to Copa America, ladies and gentlemen. We have a fresh best of 3 on our hands. This is from the Qualifier 2 finals of the winners match. Spawning here in the top right corner of the map from Evil Geniuses, the blue Protoss player Huck.
In the upper left, as the red Zerg, it is JimRising.
And due to the fact that I have inevitably done this in every single instance of casting Huck, I'm going to apologize to him and any of his fans in advance for the odd time I'm going to accidentally call him Puck. I don't do it the other way around, but for some reason, it's only when I cast Huck that I say Puck. So, not at all intended here before we get into anything. But JimRising, a really talented player. He's probably one of the better players from the Chaos Latin Gamer clan. He's also a really fun guy in general. We've had him on Base Trade TV for some show matches in the past. Here in Copa America, though, obviously, is going to be kind of his home turf, looking to shine and knock out one of the big North American names. Now, granted, before we get too far into this series, it's not that this series is unimportant, but it's more that this is going to determine seeding for group stages. This is going to heavily influence the way you're going to play the rest of your season. And if you lose this series here, you might end up playing a bunch of players you really wish you had into the group stages.
Well, it is kind of important to note that while Huck still feels confident enough in this series, he was, talking about how he just moved, and he's playing on a laptop. Now, if any of you guys have gone from playing on a keyboard to a laptop, you know that, A, the size of what is, probably a normal monitor for most people to a laptop surprisingly makes it a lot more difficult to micro. But most importantly, you guys would know that the flippin', keyboard, if he's using the laptop keyboard, it sucks.
Are you saying laptop like with a B?
Laptop?
Laptop with a P, right?
Well,
which one are you saying? This is bothering me. I'm sorry.
I'm saying laptop, but just I'm not enunciating the P, I guess.
Oh, okay. I was like, wait a minute.
Well,
what?
It's not like I'm saying laptop, and you're like, what is that?
Yeah,
really?
I have no idea what you're saying. Is this connected to computers and gaming somehow? What on earth are you talking about?
Jesus, freaking. But yeah, so it can be a big deal. It can be just really annoying when it comes to those really intricate micro moments.
Well, I think, yeah, it's the keyboard layout that matters the most, but at the same time, for Huck, I mean, it's not like he's like, okay guys, I don't care about this match, I'm just gonna play on my laptop casually in my bed. Chances are some circumstance came up that he wasn't able to see Nexus firsts on this map, but the same token, JimRising, he's gonna scout the Nexus coming down late, that's why he doesn't want to exactly jump towards a third. Of course, obviously, we'll take one as soon as possible, but for Huck, he's pretty nicely set. One good thing about this... Ooh, that's a real fast Twilight.
Well, look where it's positioned. If a Ling runs up...
That is true. But I guess the Overlord maybe feels confident and safe for the time being. I mean, Huck's really well known for his gateway control, and 9 times out of 10, I would say almost this would be DTs with how fast it is, but with Huck, I would almost say Blink. His Blink Stalker plus his weapon upgrades on them have been one of the big things he wins a lot with on stream. We've seen him do it in a couple tournaments versus Zerg as well. And I think he was trying to sneak this probe in. This was actually kind of cool. Because he had intentionally let the other one die. Well, not intentionally let it die, but with the other one dying, he kind of thought that maybe JimRising would have given up on the chase. He wouldn't have paid attention to the entrance. And if he had snuck that in with a pylon, this could have been very, very deadly.
We've seen at least one game. I really, truly believe we've seen at least one game, one game where that did happen. A pylon got in the base.
Yeah, that was Violet versus Ghost, I think. Ghost, yeah, because this one needed the 4-gate, right?
Did he not still win that, too? He
yeah.
still lost.
But, okay, hang on. This is, the Dark Shrine coming in is a little unexpected for me, personally. JimRising's going to see that Twilight Council was not researching anything despite scouting it, so that may give him kind of hints towards the Dark Shrine. Because you don't have a Twilight Council down and just leave it idle. No, you got to get that blink going, you got to get that charge going, whatever it is you want to do ASAP. Now for him, 2 queens on the ramp in a hold position. That'll keep DTs out of the base, but it won't detect them is the problem. Recognizing that his lair is a bit delayed, he's going to go with the first Spore Crawler instead, and I like this choice a lot, actually. But classic JimRising move, Macro Hatchery in the main, and probably melee upgrades coming up in a moment.
I don't like this. This is only one Spore Crawler. It's not even finished. And there's...
It's better than having no lair and just being like, oops, I'm dead.
Okay, it's always better than that. but he can run past it as there's not a lot of DPS. There's no lings to block. These zealots are going to try and tank up any like shots that would have maybe killed the DT. Instead, they're just going to kill coins.
This is really rough for JimRising.
Yeah,
For how much he started to prepare for precisely this, he's actually struggling pretty hard here. Does kill one of the DTs.
Really strong, and zealots combined with them are also very strong. And he didn't go for roaches. It wasn't his plan.
Going for the spine guard may cost him his DT, maybe? Another one coming in behind this, though, so not too far off. Of course, this is the only form of detection. I'm surprised Huck didn't just walk past this.
Yeah, what was up with that? He could have easily walked past. You know what? He assumed that there was other spore crawlers.
Aha! Well, there was one, but I guess at the mineral lines, yeah, he wouldn't have gotten a lot else done. But JimRising, that looked like that could have been much messier than it was. I do like the addition of the spine crawler. It's not really meant to pick off the DTs, I feel, but more so just in case anything else was coming his way. He doesn't know how much aggression's coming in, and once again, Huck's really well known for his gateway aggression, so that's just something where you don't really know there's 7 gates, 3 gates, 5 gates, whatever amount of gates behind it.
Yeah. What is it going to be, though? With Blink, as not that many gateways and a forge, it is just their nexus.
It's probably just going to be mass stalkers behind it, I imagine. I don't think he's going to go charge Let Archon. I think the average player would go charge Let Archon, but not Huck.
We've been seeing a lot of players go into a lot of Blink Stalkers. That's it. A lot of Blink Stalkers. Some force fields and zealot coverage, but there's the type that we've seen where you just immediately go up to. Well, this could be bad. You immediately go up to the big guys, the Colossus, the Storm, and now there's the almost purely gateway army that seems to be doing okay.
I can't believe you didn't get that sentry. That was really close. Yeah, the gateway army's been a bit problematic. The thing is, though, again, if you've got really good Blink Stalker micro, you're really going to be able to take on anything, even Hydralisks. A lot of this comes associated with those weapon upgrades, which we do see being kind of pumped out behind this. Not necessarily chronoed yet, but with 3 bases, Huck's going to certainly be able to afford the opportunity to warp in, say, 13 Zealots, if he so damn pleases.
Yeah. I think he's just going to warp in a lot of Stalkers. He could even go for a 3-base all-in, later on, a few minutes. These ETs, not only did they work out in the beginning, fairly well, they're also going to be super nice to have in the long game. Not only just in general, though, as to have, but especially on a map where it is so large, getting all the proxy pylons is almost impossible should Huck really desire to get one down.
And let's not forget, Huck's that guy that puts down those really awesome pylons in weird spots to warp in 7 Zealots from like the corner of the map type thing.
These links.
They knew where he was, he just didn't have detection for it. Again, it's kind of one of those things where I just say, like, look, you know it's there, why can these units not just blindly swipe at the air? Like, you're going to kill it if it's there.
Yeah.
Being invisible doesn't make you intangible. But again, I guess I wouldn't have to deal with squishing lings with buildings. That same level of logic.
Exactly. That's going to be a total of 8 gateways. He was pushing out, he didn't do anything.
I think him seeing that was actually a pretty big deal.
What can he do? Okay, well, of course he could stop droning. That's a nice thing to do. But he's not going to be able to get Hydralisk out in time for Swarm Hosts. He's going to have to rely purely on Ling and Roaches in a lot of it.
Right, and that's one of the things, though, where he was really going heavy on drones for a little while. I mean, he stopped, obviously, but his roach production was light. He was mixing some lings with it. Now he's got pure roaches coming out, and finally cleans up the last DT, but I don't know that JimRising is going to be able to hold this without the addition of spine crawlers, and it's too late to start them.
That was a bit of a bold.
But when did he snake out Burrow? There's no detection.
He's getting the robo right now, but the recall has to happen to save the sentries. Of course, you can run with the Blink Stalkers, but you want to save the sentries even though there only are 2.
I actually really like the addition of Burrow here. I missed that entirely. That's my bad. But this is going to allow him to circumvent sentry force fields, which is really nice. There's so many times where Protoss player catches that sort of net, and you're just like, nope, Burrow, bye bye.
These Blink Stalkers, while they were meant for a straight up attack, will also just be very good against attacking these high ground, low ground positions. Going up to snipe this 4th base.
JimRising is having some mouse issues, I suppose. Looks like it's been resolved. But you know what? Huck didn't entirely dedicate to this. This wasn't like purely a gateway all-in. I mean, we've got Immortals coming in behind this. Level 2 upgrades are on the way. He's still in this game. That wasn't like an all-in that's, oh my gosh, I just did no damage, I lose.
It was all gateways, but you're right, it wasn't an all-in. It was something that he could come back from and, just like we talked about earlier. A lot of Blink Stalkers, almost majority Blink Stalkers, mixed with just a few Sentry Zealots and maybe some Immortals, has been doing surprisingly well. I mean, it used to be that we thought that Gateway units were just absolutely terrible. You could never win any fight against them in any matchup for a very long time. You know, you immediately always wanted to go up to Colossus and Archons, but it's getting slowly disproven. The power of Blink Stalkers is pretty good.
And I mean, the thing that makes it so powerful is the retention of the units. The Stalkers themselves, they're pretty decent damage no matter what they're shooting on, but the reality is if you're not killing any of them, even if they're only getting away with 1 HP, it's still very problematic to get. You can't dive past those lines, you can't push forward. Typically there's Zealots there as well to sort of keep your melee at bay. But Huck is taking a trek here with these DTs, trying to circumvent JimRising's army, and he'll do that for now.
Well, speaking of JimRising's army, it's pretty good. And what also helps out with the Blink Stalkers is, of course, good force fields. If you section off half of the army, that makes blinking back a lot easier, of course. And you still need to be wary of that, even if Blink Stalkers have been, you know, been doing really well.
Okay, well, catches one of the DTs coming towards that third. Roaches are going to hit 4. Where's that? Oh, no, where's the Overseer? He had an Overseer with the army before.
It looks like he realized his mistake. It's not going to commit here.
I don't think Huck actually killed any roaches. Let's get change here. There we go. The Lings are a pretty big part of this army too, guys. It's one thing you can't undervalue. We do see JimRising go for double the upgrades right now, and he's a player who really makes good use of Lings where most players don't. Coming in from the left side, going to distract the top of the Nexus. There's a cannon here to defend. He may have to focus things down, but this tries to go for the right side of the map as well, so Huck cannot respond to both locations too efficiently at the same time, but forces out a cancel nonetheless.
I don't think focusing on the fourth was the best idea. Okay, the third will not go down. I thought maybe it was in serious trouble of doing that, but had he sacrificed, you know, his third
but the Lings
was not the fourth, he just used the blinks. He's got to wait a while.
Roach is going to go back for that Nexus. I think JimRising's kind of accepted that these units are dead at this point.
Remax on mutas. That's one thing that these a lot of Blink Stalkers can also, you know, do well, except, you know, they can take on armies like this fairly well. They can chase, of course, and they can harass, but they also will deal well not only against roaches, but also against a potential muta switch. Now, you can't just survive with Blink Stalkers. You've seen people try. It doesn't work. You need Archons for the what you hope would be an inevitable engagement with the Mutalisk.
You know, what kind of works out well for JimRising... Oh, why'd you throw it this way? What kind of works out well for JimRising, though, is we got to consider the units that he did lose. It wasn't like he lost Hydralisks or Ultralisks. They were the cheapest, most expendable units you could ever make, and that's Roaches and Zerglings combined together.
Yeah. He still has a big mineral bank, so these Ling Remaxes not that difficult. It's low on gas, but only after you're made 20 plus Mutalisks, so that's perfectly okay.
Oh, is he going to try and force out a base trade? This early?
Already? It would be odd to see it so fast.
Yeah, well, there's the recall out of Huck. So, an army for an army here.
He didn't recall enough back. He didn't even recall any Stalkers.
Oh no! He's got nothing to deal with the Mutalisks. The few Stalkers that did recall are going to go down. He pops off an overcharge, but the Mutalisks can fly away from it if they want to. Hell, they're going to take out the Immortals. Hell, they're going to take out the Nexus. The Zerglings have fallen underneath this, however.
Yeah, that one DT still not being seen has really helped out a lot right there. But he's going to lose his third. Now, maybe this will buy enough time for him to warp in enough Stalkers. In fact, I think
Jim's got to get back home.
Still okay.
Like, he hasn't taken devastating damage yet. In fact, the hatchery's still standing, but Huck is picking off the drones, he's picking off the Lings, nothing can get out of this base. He needs the Mutalisk to defend.
There's also some Zealots of the fourth cleaning up the drones there, but what's so powerful about the Muta attack is not necessarily that they can take on the Blink Stalkers head on, is that eventually they'll be able to because you force them to make a mistake. Huck, you know, recalls too little back home or too much back home, and that might have been what happened here.
I don't know if Huck did enough damage on this either. The hatchery still stands. Granted, he killed a lot of workers. There's no overlooking that, but he's still on 42 drones, and the Mutalisk count remains somewhat unscathed at 29. All he needs is a detector, and he's good to go. Saves the base again. 37 HP. This is a hard situation for JimRising, though. He is investing in more Mutalisks, he's investing in more Lings. I kind of feel like it'd be better off if he droned to try to out-macro, just play the harass game, because Huck's got so many cannons down at his base.
There's only 2.
That's true. Oh, there's Archons now, though. This is going to be very problematic for these Mutalisks. Yeah.
So while Huck does survive with enough of an army at home to take on the Mutalisks for now, I don't know if that's really going to be true forever, though. It's the problem that you don't have mobile defense against the the Mutalisk.
Oh my god, these Mutalisks like take the cannons down to 1 HP. They don't quite one volley them. 5
buys
cannons?
the Huck enough time though. Or not. Oh, not. Oh, the Blink Stalkers made a mistake.
JimRising's got to pick though, not get too distracted here. He's also still not joining up behind this guy. He's still stuck on 49, 57 harvesters. Jim's got to finish that off though. There's no way he leaves that alive. There we go.
Yeah. So not only can Huck not push out, but he can barely defend his own bases.
Oh.
Without Phoenixes to catch the Mutas, the Archons are too slow. They get trapped.
He actually finished off that base. I don't know when, but came there for the killing blow. One swipe of a DT would have done it, of course. But now the overcharge is popped. Doesn't need to dedicate to this. In fact, should probably just go to the main.
Huck needs those Archons to really take on those Mutalisk, and the Archons just can't go between the main and the third.
This pylon depower, though, that's going to be nasty. He does in a bad spot. There's a lot of cannons down here, but oh no, the right side of the base isn't covered! The exact area where the Mutals would want to engage on the probes!
The Nexus itself is kind of protected, although I think he could find a sweet spot where he just takes so little damage, doesn't matter, he could still snipe his fourth.
Yeah, he could go back to the main at this point too, yep. Really abusing the terrain to his advantage. Another pylon going to go down. Huck's not going to repower any of these gateways. Huck's production has been absolutely compromised. He can have all the money in the world he wants, but he can't build anything with it. Of course, while this has been going on, this wasn't the only thing happening on the map. Archons get picked up by Lings.
These Archons, well, they're not helping anyways, because they can never keep up with the Blink Stalkers and the Mutalisk.
Oh my god.
JimRising is just going to pick Huck apart in this game.
Yeah, he's up to 34 mutas. He's really not bleeding anything out. Huck is in a lot of problems right now, guys. And as something I've said earlier, like a Phoenix would have been a great thing to have to this, but he was unprepared for the muta swap. He was so focused on the amount of Lings and the road trees that were coming down. We saw Immortals being cranked out. We saw cannons coming down. At the end of the day, though, I mean, again, Huck can't build anything is the bottom line. Stuck on 40 supply, he can build probes if he'd like to, but that's about it. Archons go down on the other side of the field, and I think game one, yep, is about over. GG, JimRising will take the first game. Well, I told you guys before the game's even started, whether this was going to, no matter who won this, I'm kind of calling the 2-1 either way. There's no way Huck's gonna let that slide, but JimRising, really good game out of him there. Absolutely good game. Map number 2, I believe, is on Merry-Go-Round? No, Overgrowth. So we'll see you guys there in a moment. I'm gonna, by the way, regardless, I don't think Huck, if you win or lose, I'll see if I can get JimRising on for a post-game interview or something, providing we have time for it. Because I know people were requesting specifically to try and get more people on the stream. So we'll do what we can. We'll see what we can do, guys. For now, though, we're gonna hop to a small commercial break while the lobby gets up for game number 2. We'll see you all in a few moments. Alright, I think we're back from commercials, guys. We are in the lobby for game number 2 at the moment. Map 2 is going to be Frost. I thought it was Overgrowth, but apparently not. But Frost is going to be the choice here, and we'll be getting into the game in a moment's time. Continuing with the JimRising versus Huck series, it is 1-0 in favor of JimRising. And again, I want to remind everybody that there's no outs at this point. There's no you lose, you're out of the tournaments. This is primarily for seeding. At this point, these players have all qualified, but these are the resolutions of the qualifier 1 through 4 finals and third place matches. So after this one, we'll be going to the qualifier number 3 finals and the qualifier number 4 finals after that, and so forth. So if one of the admins could do me a favor, ! brackets in chat to link the brackets, people can go look at that to see what matches are coming up. We got some other good ones following this. This day is far from over. In fact, we're about halfway through at best. But some of the other players playing today, just off the top of my head, before we load up the page, I know there's like Ruff, there's Cats. There's, oh, that's right, I forgot Drewby got knocked out, actually. That kind of sucks. There's B-Lord and some other local talents as well. But we are in the lobby, and it looks like we're using GameHard again, which is cool. So things like brighter colors, the teams and such will be enabled as well, which is pretty neat to see.
Are we covering every single match?
No, because the third place ones are playing simultaneously.
Oh, okay.
So while this is going on, I believe on the Spanish stream, if I'm not mistaken, we've got the third place qualifier match between Goes Too Dark and Wingian, a PvP over there. I could be mistaken. I know it's being played at the same time, though. I just don't know where you can find it.
I will check. I will do good.
I actually just tabbed out to the stream for the first time, guys. I know last night we were celebrating the 2K at the end of the stream, but we're halfway through and we got 2K viewers. Woo! Copa America! Yeah! Thanks for tuning in, guys. But both players go, go, go. Yes. We are ready as well, so let's go pause the Warcraft 2 music, as epic as it is, and prepare the map introduction for Frost. Whoop, whoop, whoop. Where's that button? There we go. See you guys in a sec. Welcome back to Copa America, ladies and gentlemen. This is another best of 3. Game 2 currently underway. It is 1-0 in the favor of the player spawning here in the top left corner of the map. It is the Red Zerg player from Chaos Latin Gamers, JimRising.
In the lower left, as the blue Protoss, it is EG's Huck.
So I gotta say, there are several points in that game where I just found myself astonished. Towards the end of the game, we had Lings taking on Archons like nobody's business. At the start of the game, we had DTs that were somewhat unseen, but predicted a little bit late out of JimRising. But regardless, both players managed to resolve situations. I think the real straw that broke the camel's back, though, were those Mutalisks. Holy cow, those Mutalisks.
Yeah, Huck just had seemingly no idea. No hallucinated Phoenix to check if there was a Spire down. No thought as to what could be coming after the Ling Roach attack. And remember, Ling Roaches is not something that you usually see as a consistent composition. It's something that you do once and then you're transferring into Hyjas or Mutas or a fast hive or something like that. So either he did think of it, but messed up elsewhere in the execution, or it just completely blindsided him.
I think too, like, one of the big things to consider though if you're coming up against a player like Huck, not only do you know his playstyles from his prominence, but he's also closer to standard than I'd say JimRising would be. Huck, on the other hand, perhaps should have done some homework coming up against JimRising. Because what other Zerg players do you know that put macro hatcheries down before third? What other Zerg players do you know that dance so heavily around lings? These are all kind of traits that JimRising has that a lot of other players have kind of grown away from. You know, I think Huck would be much more expecting things like Roach Hydras, not Roach Lings followed by a Mutalisk Remax.
Yeah. Oops. So we have seen like players like Todd take on people who go for that Mutalisk switch with a competition like Huck. So it's not that Huck was immediately down and out because he only had Blink Stalkers. It was just that when Todd did it, I don't think it was quite as big as a Remax as JimRising, and I feel like that's because that's because Huck's aggression, besides that DT harassment, which didn't really do a whole lot, his aggression after that was never really there. He had to leave because Burrow came, and then he had to leave because there was just too much. He never got JimRising to really spend his money on anything else except, for a Remax on Mutas.
Oh dear, let's hope this isn't happening again. The horrors of the earlier series. We'll give them a moment. This could actually just be legit lag this time. Not the servers crapping out, but... Oh, it's Huck for now. We'll see if he turns into an observer and starts lagging out like we had with Major. But here's the thing. Huck, it seems like such a small thing. And I'm going to go through the chat here. This mind game, him just calling fast lings. This is really worrisome for a player like JimRising. Not that he was going to go for incredibly fast lings, but let's say he was. All of a sudden, you're caught with this mentality of a roadblock. Like, oh, does he know? Do I stop? Will he prepare for this? Will this be a waste of time?
Yeah, the drone scout is not just scary because, a drone scout means that he's searching for what you have, but it's also scary because of what he, this back and forth he's doing where Cybernetics Core would go. It's exactly what you do against a Terran player when you 6-pool. If you ever see that happen, they try and go with a drone and stop the second supply depot from fully walling off by just putting it on patrol.
Game resumed.
Yeah. That's why it just really does look so scary.
Well, appears to have recovered for the time being. So we're good to go. Just for context for anyone who wasn't tuning in earlier, there was some severe server problems that gratefully and graciously were resolved by Blizzard, not some random tech guy laying around hoping to fix things, but like actually Blizzard staff were looking into it, which was kind of cool. The thing about Copa America, for those who don't know, this is represented by and for Blizzard guys. It's a $15,000 tournament that they put on to help unite the, is it safe to call them the Southern American communities? I don't even know where everything is geographically, honestly. Because I know there's
I'm the ignorant American here. So.
Right, but I'm saying like there's like Peru, there's Mexico, there's Spain, there's Brazil. I don't know how you would classify all those together. But the point is that they put a lot of money into this, Blizzard that is, to make sure that these players had a place that they could play, that they weren't going to get forgotten about in the world. And Zombie Grub.
What? No, that doesn't make any sense.
This is no look. This same problem as before. Oops.
Oh god.
Why did I type TISM? What? What? I was typing same problem as before. What could have possibly spelled out TISM? Now it's me. Hi, me. I'm lagging.
Game paused.
Dear God.
This was a server issue. Same exact thing happened with Major's game before. Rehosting fixed it seemed.
You for typing and chatting it out.
Sorry, I like to be informative, okay? I'm just gonna do it again. We waited for like 10 minutes. Didn't pass. Up to you guys, though, of course. So perhaps the same issues we were having before have not resolved themselves. Again, I want to stress this, like, no matter who you see come up on that lag screen, guys, it's not like your typical lag. It's not like Zombie Grub and I are downloading torrents in the background or something and Steam games all at once. This is something we saw similar to before.
Game resumed.
But they're saying just go for now, they'll rehost if there's continued lag. So hopefully, what's nice is this isn't going to impact the game at a critical point. The point where Major and Jon Snow were experiencing these problems, the game was already so far in, nothing else would have really mattered, I feel. But, yeah, they're saying they'll just go for the remake if it continues. Hopefully it doesn't, fingers are crossed. But as far as where we were before the lag kicked in, one big thing we do have coming out of Huck pretty quick here is this +1 weapon upgrades. Now, he's going for 4 gates in total off of 2 bases. Oh, actually, no, sorry. Yeah, 4 gates. I thought it was 5 for some reason. With this pylon already coming down, if JimRising was the type of player to take a 3rd fast, he would lose it. But he's not. He's the guy who puts the macro hatchery down.
And
In fact,
Baneling Nest.
Baneling Nest. Yeah, so does he have an idea this is coming?
This is like my new favorite player. It's who replaced Leenock. Get Banelings versus Protoss is maybe the best way to make me a fan.
I'm telling you, JimRising is such a fun guy to watch because he plays the game differently. Now, I don't know if this was planned to be a bust or not. A big part of why you don't see Banelings in this matchup, period, guys, is because Sentries, Force Fields, they just shut them down outright. But if Huck was going for a lot of +1 Zealots, Zerglings wouldn't stand a chance, but Banelings absolutely would.
Yeah. Isn't Huck the one that had the GIF? Isn't that the donut GIF?
Sorry, I don't know what a GIF is. Are you talking about GIFs?
It's GIFs. Just FYI.
You're talking about GIFs, right? Like GIFs, the animated
The guy
image
who
files?
made them said it was.
Yeah, but that guy's wrong.
Oh, okay.
No one.
Anyways.
No, you know what? You say it differently every time I talk to you. Anyways, don't pretend like you're just all righteous with GIF.
I know the right way to say it. I just say whatever comes to my, mouth first. Though.
I know what you're talking about. Though. There's that guy who plays the controller, Cress or whatever. He's got that one.
No. Well, I think there's like a bunch of different ones. There's the one with like the 90s like advertisement in the background where like they're freaking out, but
There's like one with a guy like on a controller playing a video game with like this white tracksuit.
yeah,
But-
yeah, that guy. It was like the 90s ad.
Yeah, so that's okay. We're probably talking about the same GIF, but yeah, I wish I could pull that up for stream real quick. But there's no force fields here right now, and that's what's gonna be really important. These Banelings, this is gonna be so awkward. I've not seen anyone shut down +1 4-gate like this, but he should. In fact, Huck might just be better off recalling. I don't think he can take this. He knows it as well, and he gets out alive.
Yeah,
Now these Banelings are essentially wasted, which kind of sucks, but
that is true. We have a fast into okay. What was Blink changes it to charge. An interesting decision because we just saw Banelings.
I guess if you dive into the Banelings fast enough, you'll pop them.
Well, he's also
Mothership
getting
Core.
Storm, so he's probably going for the exact same thing that he did, with the sentries and the donut, and then he stormed the donut.
That'd be so
Like
cool. Oh my god, if he does this. Oh my god. I don't know if we'll see that, though, because JimRising's not going to make any more Banelings beyond this. I mean, he's a crazy guy, but he's not that crazy.
That sentry was like,
Oh, with a big surround, a big surround on these Zealots in a situation where +1 should be wrecking. They are not. Look at that spread, though, and a Huck in that whole position as well to make sure these Banelings get as little damage in as possible.
What is this, Terran or something?
Right? Okay, so he wastes them all in 2 Zealots. That's going to give Huck the okay to go ahead. I don't like that he turned around like that, though. He could have kept those 5 Banelings alive.
Gets 4 pylons in total, as those were not canceled. A little oversight for Huck. But Huck looks to be going for a 3rd. Getting a lot more gateways because, of course, your army is gateway army based right now. Zealots and High Templars.
Well, he actually manages to maneuver around these. Gets a full surround, and this will kill. Not even a cancel.
Cancel your stuff, please.
And Huck's just like... I think he's stubborn, man.
That, I don't know if he's stubborn. I think it's just that you can't forget that he's on a laptop, so his micro potential is where it is. I mean, the split of the Zealots was cool and all, but it was also premeditated. So
Well, he gets another cancel, and these are things that otherwise to +1 Zealot, to +2 Zealots, for
what
goodness
would
sake.
be really good is if the Zealots would stop chasing them, just stay near the Nexus.
Right? Charge finishes up. Maybe that's why he was giving chase. But now there's Archons available, and JimRising's going to need a little more than just these Lings, a little more than potential Banelings. And he doesn't have a lot behind this. He's been banking up and saving for Mutalisks. He's got a huge bank ready to go, but he's going to need it sooner than later.
These point taken, 13 Mutalisk with that many Zealots. I don't know if it'll be quite enough. They take down the Spine Crawlers, for the Spine Crawlers they get 1 hit. But that 3rd wood should go down. Now, if he splits his Zealots and doesn't focus it, maybe not. And the Evo Chamber seems like an opportunity target. Alright, he's getting some roaches as well to make sure that these Zealots don't do an awful lot of damage before they die. and maybe the Mutalisk can more quickly reach over to Huck's base before Huck can appropriately get enough stalkers. But with only 14
He cleans this
mutas,
up so well.
yeah, he does. Oh, well, okay, the third did go down. That's Huck did what I thought it was going to do.
But he takes another, so not the end of the world. Archon gets magic boxed upon, and the resources lost surprisingly even after that fight. But more zealots are on the way, and these Mutalisks are, oh, it's free food.
I don't think they eat it.
What, zealots?
Huh.
I imagine if you ate zealots, by the way, they'd probably be a little spicy because they turn into fire when they die.
Oh my god. Just like bite into it and like plasma explodes in your mouth.
I always thought for the longest time that they would do like damage upon death. I think that'd be pretty cool. I mean, you literally erupt into like a big burst of flames. Look at that stuff. How does that not do damage to things nearby?
I don't think it's flames, actually.
Okay, so plasma energies.
It's energy.
Because that's any less volatile than fire would be. In fact, if we're gonna
guess
get
it's
real
true.
talk
Fire
here,
is energy.
fire and energy is basically the same thing.
Yeah.
Erupts with the
sciencey
might
up
of
in
a
here.
thousand suns. Well, I think we've clarified multiple times at this point that StarCraft 2 doesn't have a lot of science or logic that holds true with anything. But oh, if he could have gotten those +3 weapon upgrades, that would have been huge. That takes so much power away from the Archon, so much power away from the Blink Stalkers, but finding himself in the same predicament as before, trying to keep up with the Mutalisks. This time, JimRising though doesn't have an alternative attack. He doesn't have Lings flooding the third at the same time.
And it's not 20 plus immediately.
Yeah.
14 is a number where you can defend, you can wait a little while, you're on 3 bases, you're not, you still have a nice number of probes, you can get the defense, and you can really not just defend as well. Huck will eventually get a good number of stalkers where he might feel confident enough to push out and force the mutas in engagement with him.
Well, third base still alive, but ripe for the pickin'. I'm surprised we don't have those classic Huck pylons on Frost of all maps too. I expect to always see like a pylon here, a pylon up here, and ready to do warpins at all various locations. But Stalker is going to get absolutely wrecked. There's not enough mutas to kill his probe line though. In fact, he's going to bleed 1 or 2 of these out as the Blink will keep up with this army. And this is the Huck I'm used to seeing. The massive stalkers, the crazy control, the reacting to the Mutalisk properly situation. In fact, splitting very much intentionally, not bringing them all to the main so they could do precisely this move. Trying to corner them in.
Got a little bit screwed on the map right there. Couldn't quite reach him.
But there's roaches coming up behind this. We got Burrow Tech coming out once again.
Oh,
What
that's
is up with this Spire?
I haven't seen this bug in a while on GameHeart.
It looks like it just got fried alive and this is the remaining char. Like you would touch this and it would just crumble to pieces. I
don't know
forgot
why
about
that suddenly
that.
came up again. Yeah, I don't know what. I guess all the lag caused it, obviously.
You know, the first thing I thought of when I saw it though was that one Spire on the Starbow map.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I think that's what, when I first saw it on the map, I was like, that looks like when it's messed up on GameHeart.
Okay, well, Stalker's trying to engage the Mutalisk. There's not a lot here as they have moved out. They're going for a counterattack. I think Huck's kind of figuring, like, if you're devoting so much attention here, you might not have a lot at home.
Yeah,
but,
that's what I'm talking about. Feels confident enough to do this, and
There's
he
no-
forces the mutas to potentially turn home.
There's no detection for the burrow either. So, I mean, if this gets out of hand, JimRising can save a lot of these roaches, but man, does he brute force that. Goes right into the melee range of those Archons. He takes about half the army out and goes to the burrow for recovery. Back at home, still dealing a ton of damage to these Stalkers, still bleeding out a lot of these units, and Huck's resources lost is not looking so hot right now, but JimRising's very close to losing a base.
Losing 2 bases. There are zealots attacking the 4th, which is not mining, but that would have been the backup. The drones did have to evacuate.
I think he's going to hold this,
However,
actually. The roaches are looking
yeah.
really good. Blink Stalkers with
holding
level 3
here.
weapons.
And he's still attacking on the 3rd. Huck, again, he tries to make the right move and just gets shut down.
Well, the roaches have almost no health. The advantage to Burrow heals very, very quickly. So rather than coming to the next battle with almost no roaches with no health, he'll actually probably have a pretty nice army. Nexus does fall down here. He's even going to get some pylons for his trouble, but he needs to start disengaging out of this. Keeping these Mutalisks alive, very important, because he's not going to be able to make more for a long time.
It's less about the Mutalisk right now, though. There's a reason why he hasn't dedicated any more into them. Is because while they're still good, if you got 40 Mutalisk, of course, it's not necessary. You don't have to play that long game. He could probably just brute force with these upgrades and these roaches.
Yeah, again, I can't stress how good that fight was for JimRising, because he was at a major upgrade deficit. Huck had level 3 weapons. He had Archons that deal bonus damage to roaches. He had the Stalker count, but we didn't see that Gosu Micro we're used to seeing on a Huck. Now coming across the map with these roaches, there's no sentries here to segment them off. And that's the biggest thing that shuts down roaches. Those force fields cutting the army down. Archons go down like nobody's business, and there's still no detection. Actually, no, where's that one observer? Okay, the observer is coming here, so no more bro treks to get out alive. But he takes down the Archons, he takes out a majority of the Stalkers. Huck is bleeding out so heavily, and look at that, look at the supply difference!
It's huge. It's been huge. Maybe if Huck had started utilizing sentries in both of those the attack and the defense, he could have really started shaving off a lot of the supply. Because again, roaches are very supply heavy. You know, suddenly 10 roaches go down, and it's no longer quite the difference it looked like. But he just never bothered to get sentries the entire game, I think.
Well, as the game gets closer to the end here, someone in chat referring to the Spire being like a shiny Pokemon. That's why it's a different color.
So it's a dull Pokemon. It is the crappy Pokemon.
No, don't you? Shiny Pokemon have like different colors than normal Pokemon. So like a Charizard will be black instead of red.
But they're cool looking. This Spire just looks dead.
Yeah, okay, that's true. Actually, look at it researching. That looks really cool with the pulsing red. Alright, Metal Star in the main. Roaches have compromised the natural. Huck's trying to do what he can with the cannons, with the Stalkers, but this game is pretty much over. JimRising, I called it 2-1 in this series. I couldn't be happier to be wrong, but really? It's JimRising that 2-0s? Nothing against Jim, but again, Huck was just statistically the favorite coming into this, but GG thrown down. JimRising will rock the series 2-0. Our Chaos Latin Gaming friend. Congratulations to him.